Donald Trump's whole fascist regime is caught in a contradiction of its own making, his continual big lies. This is Bob Avakian, Revolution, number 124. The Trump fascist regime must go now. No more waiting for elections that will happen way too late, if they happen at all. No more talk of 3.5 more years of this fascist regime. Talk like that amounts to accommodation with this fascism. Accommodation means collaboration with its monstrous and mounting tyranny and ongoing atrocities. From the day he returned to power in January of this year, 2025, Trump has repeatedly violated the Constitution and due process of law, viciously trampling on what are supposed to be basic rights of the people, whether undocumented immigrant, legal resident, or citizen. A concentration of this has been the Trump regime's rounding up of immigrants and moves to quickly deport them, including to a torture chamber prison in El Salvador, without a hearing or even the chance to speak to a lawyer. Gestapo raids have been carried out by heavily armed, masked thugs claiming the authority of the law as they systematically violate the law and due process of law. Sometimes these thuggish roundups have actually involved citizens, and Trump has threatened that he will deport U.S. citizens to prisons like the one in El Salvador, another blatant violation of the Constitution. All this is justified with the claim that Trump was elected to do this. First of all, to repeat this crucial truth, no matter how it comes to power, whether elected or not, fascism is always illegitimate. And what actually happened in terms of the 2024 election is that a leading edge of Trump's campaign was a repeat of his racist lies in his first 2016 campaign for president, slandering millions of immigrants as criminals, rapists, murderers, when the vast majority of immigrants, undocumented as well as documented, are just ordinary people who are seeking a better life for themselves and their families, and who make important contributions to society. So, since the reality is that there are not hordes of monstrous immigrant criminals, in order to carry out his perverted campaign promise to persecute and mass deport immigrants, Trump's thugs are targeting immigrants, including children, just going about their daily lives, where they work, at school or a store or a church, in their homes, or when they are showing up at their regularly scheduled immigration status hearings. The claims of the crazed Nazis like Stephen Miller, who make up this regime, that this is what Trump was elected to do, are shown to be false, as the regime's thugs repeatedly raid and terrorize immigrants who are overwhelmingly not dangerous, violent criminals. Let us not forget that during his first regime, Trump ripped apart immigrant families, with large numbers of children torn from their parents. And now, as part of its deliberate terrorizing of people, this Trump regime's targets include mixed families, with some who are citizens and some who are not and may be undocumented, while officials like the fascist thug border czar Tom Holman cynically declare that in order for mixed immigrant families not to be separated, members of the family who are citizens can deport themselves, along with undocumented family members who are being deported forcibly and, in a great number of cases, illegally. This kind of cruelty is a deliberate part of this regime's whole fascist approach. And this is all being backed up by the mobilization of armed forces to threaten and forcibly suppress those righteously protesting against this outrage. Trump's face-masked fascist goons have even assaulted and arrested Democratic Party politicians in a move to render opposition powerless, even from within the ranks of the ruling class, and beyond that, to intimidate anyone from standing up against this fascist Trump regime. These terroristic attacks on immigrants and those standing with them are part of this fascist regime's overall moves to forcibly impose a return to the kind of situation that existed in this country for most of its existence, where racist oppression and oppression based on sex and gender and crude, unthinking allegiance to American supremacy are openly proclaimed, and this is being enforced now by a regime full of deranged, anti-scientific fanatics, while those who oppose this are violently attacked. This Trump fascist regime is determined to blast ahead to enforce all this with increasing and intensifying police state tyranny. The big lies about immigrants and the brutal lawless actions carried out on the basis of these big lies is a frontline assault and battering ram in this regime's move to consolidate its fascist rule. At the same time, acting on these big lies, viciously going after immigrants who are not violent criminals, is causing big trouble for the Trump regime. Masses of ordinary people, including large numbers of people who are not immigrants but do believe in basic rights and treating people fairly and decently, have been outraged by these attacks on immigrants and have mobilized in protest against this. As part of the continuing huge protests and resistance overall against the many-sided outrages continually perpetrated by this fascist regime and its ongoing lawless tyranny. Enough is enough. In fact, things have already gone way too far. And if this fascism is not defeated and removed from power soon, it really will become too late. The time is upon us. There must now be a major qualitative ramping up of relentless resistance against this fascist regime, becoming even more massive and sustained, mobilizing millions and millions of people, moving non-violently, but with fierce determination around the crucial unifying demand that Trump and his fascist regime must go now, aiming for nothing less than bringing the functioning of this fascist regime to a halt and creating the conditions where it is removed from power.